Welcome to the Nifty Nuggets weekly news and reviews podcast show. In this week's episode, we'll be talking about Australia leading the way with Bitcoin ETFs. Also, Moonbirds reaching the moon, but can they go beyond? And Uniswap, and what their lawsuit means for the rest of the Web3 space. But before we jump into the fryer, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, smash the like, leave a comment below, and you can also get us on podcast and Spotify. Make sure you leave that 5-star review, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at Nuggets Nifty, because we do giveaways, and you also have the opportunity to get into the Nugsville server. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road.
Nuggets is
Now,
like my family.
Joining me this week, we have Channing.
Woohoo!
How are we doing?
I am super excited. I can't wait to bring all this awesome news and dramas into this week's show.
I know it has been an absolutely mad week for the NFT space in particular, which is fantastic news for us. And just to let you know, based on the feedback we've received from listeners to the show is going to be taking more of an NFT heavy direction going forwards, and most particular this week with all the action that's been taking place. And before Channing unleashes the alpha on us, just want to remind everyone listening, especially if it's your first time, that this show shouldn't be considered financial advice, because neither Channing nor myself are financial advisors. Okay, so without further ado, Channing, take it away.
Fantastic. First of all, how are you this week?
Yeah, I'm really good. Feeling pretty positive about the space as a whole. And just looking forward to the weeks to come, let's say.
Exactly. I'm very curious about what's going to happen next week based on what we had happened last week as well. And also just to tell a reminder to all the people who's listening or watching the YouTube videos, your comments are very, very important, and we are reading it every day. So as CryptoVS just mentioned, based on your comments, we are going to touch more on the NFT space rather than traditional crypto. So that being said, let's have a look at the traditional crypto market as usual, shall we?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, let's have a look at the market cap right now, which is sitting around $1.948 trillion, which has not moved for the whole week. So last week, I remember a few weeks before we had 2.2 trillion, but right now it's sitting below 2 trillion. The 24 hours volume, I mean, we always record this on the weekends, so the volume is pretty low, only $63 million at the moment. But in the weekdays, it was pretty good. That was at the point, it was 130 billions, actually billions, not millions at the time. And let's have a look at the Bitcoin dominance and Ethereum dominance. Actually, Bitcoin dominance is rising a little bit, whereas the Ethereum dominance is slowing down. So Bitcoin dominance right now is 38.8 and Ethereum is at 18.3. Let's have a look at Bitcoin and the Ethereum price, because these are the most important indicators of the whole market. So Bitcoin is sitting just below $40,000 with last 7 days only 1.7% down, whereas Ethereum is just below $3,000 as well. So right now it's $2,951 with last 7 days 3.7% down. So with that in the head, we have the top 10 coins doing just normal things, if not down a lot. So we can see XRP is down 9.1%, sitting at $0.7 right now, and Luna once again doing 13.2% up while the whole market is down. That's super impressive, and that's about it. Let's have a look at the crypto.
So what about the
Sorry, go on.
Greed and Fear Index? No,
Yeah.
what about the Greed and Fear Index?
Exactly, I was going to move on to. We can imagine with such red blood in the crypto market, we can expect the crypto fear and greed index is going to be fear at least. And let's have a look now. So from 0 to 100, the number is sitting around 24, which is extreme fear. Same as yesterday, same as last week, and a lot worse than last month, same time, which was 47 at the time. So we had a a bull trap that we thought there was a mini bull coming up again, but then we're down once again. So, but with that being said, I think when the market is doing fear or extreme fear, I think it is normally a good time to step into the crypto market step by step, dollar cost averaging, and take profit while you can when the market is in the green, which is greed or extreme greed. But none of those are financial advices. So
for sure, because it's always important to try and for people to try and take profit as and when they can. I think taking profit is often one of the hardest things for people to do, because when you see coins or NFTs going up, the greed sets in and you think this is going to go up further, and that corresponds with the greed and fear index. When it's in the green and you start getting greedy, that's when you just need to detach your emotions and just go, you know what, I've made some money, let me take some money out. You don't have to sell all of your bags, of course, but just take some money out, because profit is profit, and everything that you have in crypto space is unrealized gains until you actually take the profit out. And we can't stress that enough. But having said that, I know there's been some big news with regards to Australia launching the Bitcoin-backed ETF. And for those of you that don't know, like, ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund, which is basically like a pooled investment. ETFs normally track they normally track a particular index or sector, like in traditional world, the S&P 500, but obviously in this case is BTC. So Channing, would you like to tell us more about this and how you feel about this news?
I do think this news is going to at least, I'm not saying bring the bull back, but I think at least have a small impact on the whole market, because this ETF, unlike the ETFs we have mentioned for the last few weeks, it is going to be a spot ETF, which means that basically every dollar you put into the ETF, they have to buy $1 worth of the Bitcoin in the real lives. So unlike the future-backed ETFs, which means that you are basically putting your money onto the numbers. So with the future ETF, doesn't matter how much money you put in, $1 billion, $1 trillion, there will be little to minimum impact on the whole market. Whereas the spot Bitcoin, more money jump into the ETF. That means more BTC is going to be drained from the market. So we're going to see a supply shock, which means theoretically the price of Bitcoin should be increasing. But there is something to be noticed here, as the news has pointed out, that this is not, it is going to be a spot Bitcoin, all right, a spot BTC ETF, all right, but there's something strange, because putting money into this ETF does not mean that you are actually buying Bitcoin straight away, because they are a ETF based on another ETF which was based in Canada. But essentially you are buying the Bitcoin anyway. So it's like layer 2. It's like a Polygon on Ethereum chain. But you're buying Bitcoin anyways. All right, let's have a look at the NFT market. Last week when we were talking about NFT market, we see this downward trend for the trading volume. It seems like unstoppable downtrend where the top was $173 million, and it went down to as low as $66 million. And we thought, well, the bear market is coming back. And look what happened next day. On the 14th of April, something phenomenal happened. and brought back the bull market of the NFT market. The trading volume on the 16th of April was $177 million. That's a lot. Do you know why?
Yeah, well, that's because Moonbirds are bringing sexy back. Moonbirds is a NFT project released or in relation with the Proof Collective, and that's headed up by Kevin Rose, who's seen as like an OG in the space. But as you can see, Moonbirds, when they minted at a price of 0.25 Ethereum, and now their floor price is up to 37 ETH, which is crazy. And I mean, Channing, wouldn't you want to own a piece of this beautiful art for that price?
Of course, it's because of the art. Look at the art. It's highly detailed, artistic, pixelated owls, basically. So people be wondering, why are we paying so much money for this art, right? It's I don't know. Art is different. Everybody has a difference, but different opinions. But I don't think by art alone is going to cause this massive bull run. So as people know that these Moonbirds, these owls, were minted out at 2.5 ethers. That wasn't cheap at all. But look where we're at now. We are sitting just above 40 ethers. At the time of the recording. But what's even more interesting was on the day of the launch of the Moonbirds, the trading volume, as we can see this huge spike in the trading volumes on the Opensea, that is because Moonbirds, right? On the first 24 hours, the whole day's trading volume is approximately, I think, 45 times of the second one, which was at the time was a Mutant Ape Yacht Club, MAYC, which was already up a lot on the trading volume because people were speculating about the ape land sale. But the Moonbirds has wrecked the whole market by doing 45 times of that. And then at that time, I opened up the weekly chart on the last 7 days. The Moonbirds, the 24 hours trading volume is about 10 to 20 times of the weekly trading volume, as well as the other all the other ones, so which is massive. But the reason behind it, I think, is because of the Proof Collective NFTs, which is sitting on the floor price of 130 Ethereums, which I think is probably one of the first ones who flipped the floor price of the BAYC, which is sitting around 110 ethers right now. Do you know anything about these Proof Collectives?
Well, what I know about Proof Collective is that they're basically a group of big brains, whales, and this leads into the mentality, psychological aspect of NFT trading, and because people that are getting involved in these companies or these projects like Proof Collective, they don't have the same sort of mentality as like myself, who is a small fish in a very, very big pond. But I do know Proof Collective, they hold many collections, or their members have collections such as CryptoPunks. They got like 148 of those. Bored Apes, they got like over 800. They've also got like bits, and so they've got within their collection loads of Bluechip holders and Bluechip NFTs. But feel free to tell us some more, Channing.
Exactly. So before they only had 1,000 passes for their Discord invites. Basically, you have to have one of the NFTs of the Proof Collective, which is sitting at once again 130 Ethereums. So to get into their Discord, to check what the whales are thinking, because apparently they are having different mentalities of our little fishes in the ocean. So that was the reason why it was so expensive. And right now with the Moonbirds, you would be able, if you own one of the Moonbirds, you will be able to join their Discord as well to have a look at this. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be sitting here to talk to you. I'll be retiring. But if you are listening to this and if you're curious about what's happening inside of their Discord, go ahead and buy. Well, we can't suggest people to buy anything, but if you want to get in their Discord, apparently the cheapest way is to get one of the Moonbirds. That is why they have so much of the trading volume. And with that being said, go on.
No, I was going to say, and people were concerned that Moonbirds was going to be a drain on liquidity based on the high mint price, and going on what happened with the Pixelmon fiasco of the free Dutch auction, and that did drain liquidity. But for me personally, the reason why Moonbirds wasn't a drain in liquidity is because to get the opportunity to mint, you had to apply for a raffle, and in your wallet you had to have the funds available to prove that you could mint it. But a lot of people, little fishes, let's say, in the ocean, were able to get hold of this Moonbirds NFT and at mint price, and then big brains came in, whales came in, and they were able to buy from the small fishes. Like, I didn't have one, but people like myself and yourself, and give us or them, the little fish, the opportunity of life-changing money. And this is what I mean about the mentality of the investors, because there isn't many of the celebrities or whales that actually minted, say, a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT. It was normally small fish that minted these things, held on to it, and then as the attention grew, more and more people from with big, deeper pockets and wallets were buying the project. And this is what's exactly happened with Moonbirds. More people got in, big people came in instantly. As soon as after mint, it straight away became out of my price range because it was being sold for anywhere between 7 and 10 ETH, which is way out of my league. But if you would have held on to it, it then doubled and went up to 20 ETH, and now it's gone up to like, well, at floor price it's like around 37, 40 ETH. And what do you think I would do if I sold my NFT for, let's just say, 20 ETH? I'm going to reinvest it into other NFT projects that are either potential blue chip projects or projects I feel under the radar. So, Channing, are there, like, what would you have bought? Is there any collections you think you would have bought with profits from that?
Exactly. Like what you said was excellent, because I would totally do the same. I actually had a friend who have one of the Bored Ape Yacht Clubs who was minted last year. Oh, talk about that. That's we're being a whole year after the first Mutant Ape Yacht Club being minted last April 2021. So he actually minted, and he recommended.
Seems longer though.
It is. The time in the NFT space moves so much faster than the real life ones. So he actually have recommended us to buy one of the Bored Ape Clubs, which at the time was about 1 Ether, and now was about $4,000 because we're in the middle of the bull market. And I was thinking to myself, I was laughing, showing my friends about this picture because it's a picture of monkey. And I was like, who the hell is going to spend $4,000 on a stupid monkey? But I guess we can see who's a stupid one now. So we didn't understand what the NFT is at the time. But now we have a deeper understanding. But that being said, if I was able to buy one of the Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, I would probably sell them when it reached 10 ethers, which would be around $30,000. If I didn't sell it at 10 ether, I would probably sell it at 20 ether at the time, which is $60,000, which is way much more than average a single individual's salary in the US already. So I would think, okay, that's enough profit for me now. So I would probably take the profit now, have a vacation, take a 1 year off of the daily works, or reinvest all those money. But for these people, so my friend, he's still holding on to the Bored Ape Yacht Clubs. So why is that? I asked him. He basically said, "Well, I don't need the money right now, right? So if I sold it, what else should I buy? Gold, stocks, or he's not lack of liquidity." And I think that is the mentality of these blue chips NFTs. Because if you have a lot of money, you basically don't care about if the Moonbirds is moving from 10 ethers or 20 ethers, because you're going to hold on to it and you're not going to sell it anytime soon. Whereas in the smaller NFTs, yesterday we have one of the NFT minted out, which is called Ugly People. The mint price was 0.15 ether, and a lot of people has sold them around 0.3 ether, which is the current floor price as well, because that's the double of the investment. So that's why a lot of people are taking 0.3 because each one you have 0.15 ethers profit. So together you have 0.3 ethers profit. A lot of people are being happy about it because profit is profit. But for the people who has the deeper pockets, they don't care about these ones. That's why they can move. At least that's what I think about different mentalities.
So, Channing, if you had a Moonbird and you was able to sell it for 30 ETH, where would you be looking to reinvest that, or how would you spend that ETH?
Well, I have a lot of Bluechip in my mind that the NFTs I want to buy, but more importantly, I would like to take some profit, exchange them into Australian dollars, and have a nice holiday. So I think this space is definitely very, very stressful, and I think profit is profit. Don't ever be so greedy. I mean, if you hold on to one of the Moonbirds, you're very, very lucky. But if you take some profit, that's also a doable thing, right? Enjoy a Sunday, enjoy a weekend outside instead of like me and Crypto V is stuck in a small room recording this podcast for you guys. But it's not all good news that happened last week. We had a massive bad news on the NFT space, which is related to another NFT called Akutar NFT, Akutar Mint Pass. Have you heard about this news?
Yeah, I only heard of it because I saw a tweet from the kind of renowned developer Inirashi mentioning that they had basically, there was something wrong with the contract, and that meant that the money, the ETH spent, is locked forever. But you can tell us some more about that.
Yeah, that's not some money. That's a bloody $34 million that is locked in the smart contract. I mean, at this time,
I know, it's crazy.
I don't even know we should call it smart contract or dumb contract right now. So $34 million. Oh my gosh. Let's have a look at this Akutar Mint Pass as an NFT. So it doesn't have anything. I don't know if it's not revealed yet or it's just the Mint Pass. So it doesn't have any differentialities. But we can see the passes now are being sold around 0.2 ethers. And even the OG ones are being sold around 0.3 ethers. But let's have a look. Let's have a look at the price action before the news dropped. So it is one of the very good mint passes that is on the market. The price before the news announced was so the normal ones was being sold around 5 ethers, and the rare ones, the OG ones, are being sold around 7 to 8 ethers. But what happened next is such a waterfall. Everything just went straight down. It's basically zero now if you look in the bigger scale of the price action on my screen now. So what happened was they had something wrong with the smart contract, and therefore all of the fund that was used to mint the mint pass cannot be accessed at all. Therefore, I mean, they were having big plans, a big roadmap, a lot of things to be done, but all of those things needed money, right? But with all the money being locked up, who is going to compensate all these people? Who is compensate all these team members? So they basically don't have any money anymore. So that's why the price has dropped so much of the meme pass, because basically you're holding on to something that there's no promise, anymore in the future. So what I'm trying to say here is, doesn't matter if you are an individual or a project, NFT project team, just pay extra attention to what you're dealing with. I mean, in this case, it's not the consumer's fault, it's the team's fault. But for the team, they can easily hire a auditor to audit their contract before the mint went live, so that this thing might be avoided, right? I mean, let's spend, I don't know about the how much it is the market price to get an auditor, but I can imagine that would be $10,000 or $20,000 to avoid $34 million loss. That is massive. And that actually leads to the next topic that I want to talk about, which is the Uniswap is facing a lawsuit action from the traders who lost money on altcoins. Have you heard about this news, CryptoViz?
Yeah, it came up on my radar, and I found it really interesting because I know Uniswap are a big decentralized exchange, and you're able, being decentralized means that you can literally create a coin, list it, and it will be open for trading on Uniswap. And the whole point of Web3 and decentralization is that you, the master of your own destiny, so to speak, and you can do basically what you want with minimal regulation, if at all any regulation. So to hear that there was a lawsuit coming from a trader was disappointing, which is why we always stress do your own research and don't take things as financial advice. But it was also interesting because we just have to wait and see where this case takes us. But what are your views on it?
Well, I think the whole beauty of the Web3 thing is decentralized. That means there's no central authority to control or regulate things, which means you can literally, you could list whatever the fuck you want to on Uniswap, right? That's the whole purpose of the decentralized exchange. So you can literally just start up your own contract, your own tokens, which has a scam code embedded, and the contract can be only be bought in, but you can never sell the coins, which what actually happened in the Squid Game token. I think it was later at the end of 2021. So you could buy the tokens, and the tokens price went up, but surprisingly, you can't even sell it. So that is what a scam looked like. But I don't think, I am always supporter for Web3, but I don't think that is the right thing to do. I mean, at the end of the day, if we are embracing the fully decentralized Web3 world, we are just trying to encourage all the scammers out there, because you can do whatever you want. There's no regulation on it. So I think maybe we don't want a fully centralized world, but some regulations or some authorities stepping in would be a nice thing. I mean, let's think about it. If we don't, even though we don't do a fully regulated space, but we can say compulsory that you have to get an auditor to audit your contracts before doing a live launch about your project, just like what we do in the real world, like accounting stuff. So you need to have an auditor to do it, so that customers or consumers would have more confidence about your project. And that's same goes the same as the Akutar launch pass as well. So if they had someone compulsory to audit their contracts, they would have avoided this $34 million tragedy. That is 10,000 ethers. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lot of money. And it just goes to show and reinforce when we say that we're really early in the space. I strongly feel that we are really, really early, and there isn't many projects or people out there that have been able to set a precedent. So some that come to mind would be, say, Azuki when they created the ERC 721A contract. That was heralded as something new. You also have like Gangster All Stars that to get into the Discord, you had to have a chip, and you can't sell that chip. Which is the chip is an NFT, so you can't sell that. Basically, like what you have just mentioned about Squid Games, but the reverse, because it's a good thing.
Yes.
It's not like a token or anything. And once again, you have like developers like Inirashi who are renowned in the space, and Zagabond for Azuki. So these people, and Kevin Rose, like we mentioned in Proof Collective. So people like that are few and far between at the moment within the space, but they will slowly but surely, once time evolves, more projects will come out like that. And this is why people have kind of diversified their portfolios a little bit more and bought Web2 related, or yeah, Web2 related people. So for instance, Murakami, he had his flower seeds that saw a massive pump, which is no surprise because in real life he's a fantastic artist, world renowned, so on and so forth. So there's a precedent set for him having buyers interested in his collection. Whereas when you mentioned about Ugly People, it's also an artist, but they're not as established as Murakami. Then you also had like Rec Studios and Clone X. They partnered with Nike. They saw a pump. They got items airdropped from their collection, their Monolith collection, and those are selling at like, well, way above an ETH. And that's because of their affiliation with Nike. So once these brands come in, it will they will start encouraging a precedent. So if you want to be decentralized and you want to be separate from Web 2, then you're going to have to come to the table with, like what you mentioned, audited contracts and a product on the table to show the investors, i.e., NFT buyers. And without that, projects are going to die, because we did see a drop off, a massive drop off. We covered it in the show and previously, a massive drop off of trading volume in OS because people were coming out with projects, and in the bull run, they were minting out. It didn't matter what you had. You could have had Flower Pot NFT or My Cuddly Teddy Bear, and it was, and it was selling. It was making people profit. But then, once Pixelmon happened, people started becoming a little bit more reserved, and there was more anxiety around the market. So projects weren't minting out. So until people start doing the setting the trend, following the certain procedures, and building the trust and confidence of the consumers or investors, NFT buyers, whatever you want to call them, it's going to be hard for people to, or going to get harder for people to then scam each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's very well said, because in the traditional market, before we invest in anything, we look at the track record of what they have done before. But in the Web3 space, because we're so early that you barely find anyone with a successful track record of the Web3 or NFT project. So a lot of things, a lot of times people are scammers, but we can't realize because we don't know, we don't have anything that is not a we don't have anything that's skilled or a very mature product to track on, so we have to be extremely careful about that. But when the Web2 companies jumped in, they actually, for the companies like Nike, we know that they are doing their due diligence. We know that they have a track record of the successful businesses of the past, I don't know, 40, 50 years. So we know that they are going to be good. So that's why before the Clone X was, the acquisition news came out, Clone X was being sold around 2 ethers. And then right after the Clone X got sold, Clone X got acquired by Nike, the floor price went to 10 ethers straight away within a few hours. That was phenomenal. So there is no pure devil or pure good in this space. I mean, we are always saying, oh, we are Web3 people, we are against Web2 companies. But in reality, the Web2 companies, NFTs, are doing quite well, actually, compared to all these pure Web3 projects.
Although what I would say, just one little caveat to that is not all Web2 companies are golden childs, because NBA, they launched their NFT this week, and there was a contract exploit which was like a looping contract. And for anyone that doesn't know, it's when you're on the whitelist. So I'm on whitelist. I mint my NFT, and then I send that NFT into another wallet that I hold. And when I go back to the mint site, because the NFT is not in my wallet anymore, it allows me to mint again. So that is another contract exploit that happens. Okay, yeah, and before we wrap things up, we have a competition. So this gives you the opportunity to officially join us, me and Channing and the rest of the Nuggets in Nugsville. So for today's question, Channing's going to hit you with it. So Channing, what is the secret password for this week?
All right. So the secret password, the question is, what was the mint price of the Moonbirds NFT? Which is pretty easy, because if you listen to our podcast, you will know. But if you don't know, you can either do a research on it, or you can just wind back to the middle of the podcast to listen to it again. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, good luck. And hopefully I'll see some of you in Nugsville.
Fantastic. Okay, I think that would be the end of today's show due to the time. It was a pleasure talking to you, Crypto Viewers.
Yeah, it was great talking to you as well, Channing. Shall I do an official wrap up?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, folks. And that brings an end to another fantastic show. Channing, thanks a lot. As always, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Enjoyed your company, bringing all the fire.
Thank you very much, Crypto Viewers. It was such a pleasure.
Yeah, good. And we're definitely going to be here next week. So that being said, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you know when we're back on. Smash the like button, leave a comment below. And as we mentioned in the beginning, we do value your feedback and listen to it. So leave a comment. If there's something you agree with, disagree with, that we've spoken about in the show, drop the comment. And don't forget that secret password so you can join us in, or have a chance to join us in Nugsville. Also, you can get us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And make sure you follow us on Twitter at Nuggets Nifty, because we do hold competitions, giveaways on our Twitter where you can win whitelist and the opportunity, once again, to get a Discord invite and join us in Nugsville. So until next time, folks, stay crispy.
And stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.